Right then, this is going to be episode 1 of Lifting and Living. So, a little podcast I'm going to try out, and want to get some really interesting people on there. But instead, I thought I'd start with Claire. Seriously, Claire is, I think, going to be a great first episode for this. So, first thing I want to clear up, because I don't know if I've said your name wrong in events when you've done them at my gym.
Most people have.
UKNS live stream, it was said about 3 different ways, and I thought I must ask you, how do you pronounce your surname?
It's Vize.
Vize. Oh no. So for events, right. And we got Claire Vize. Sorry.
It's fine. Honestly, it's for a 4-letter word. It can be spelt so many ways. It can be pronounced so many ways. I've never met anybody who's got it right first time.
Oh well. So
and to make it even worse, it's actually a double-barreled surname, because I double-barreled it with my husband when we got married a few years ago. So it's actually Vize Cowper, but Vize is difficult enough for most people without adding a hyphen and a whole other 6 letters.
So was it you that it was the Vize before, or Cowper?
Yes. It's me that was the Vize, and my husband that's Cowper. So yeah, we do names together.
Maybe that's a good place to start. That sounds like an interesting origin.
Vize, yeah, it's, as far as I know, and this is from my aunt who's into the whole like what's it called, genes reunited ancestry kind of stuff. She traced the name back to Turkey.
All right, yeah.
And there is a town in Turkey called Vize. But it was via Ireland, which possibly explains a little bit of the madness.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Quite a mix there. So that's always quite interesting. Yeah. I've never found out. I think my sister looked into it once, and some sort of French origin. So I don't really ban that.
I would have thought French. Yeah, I would have thought French, but yeah, apparently Turkish. There's loads of Vizes in America. Not many in the UK, to be honest.
Oh, it's good to be unique. Good to be
unique,
isn't it? You know?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it gives me a chance to obviously have to shout my name a few times when people inevitably mispronounce it, because there's so many different pronunciations that it could be, and none of them are necessarily wrong.
I have to admit, the live stream for the UKNS, I actually think they got it right more often than I have. So maybe that's why I thought I'd ask you.
I think, to be fair, one of the guys at the beginning of the day did ask me how to pronounce it.
Ah, right. See, they thought ahead.
I saw somebody, I'm not sure if he was one that was doing the live stream, but I did see somebody asking a couple of people how to pronounce their surnames. So I think they might have been just checking that for that, I assume.
So maybe going on to that then. So for those of you that don't know, Claire, master strongwoman, and you this year qualified for the UKNS. I'll call it the UK final. I suppose that's how you'd say it. And this year it was in Ireland. So, I'll tell you what. Just why don't you tell us how that went for you? Because I know you hit some big people. I'll let you take over.
Yeah, it was brilliant comp. I don't take the sport very seriously. I'm pretty open about that. I don't have great ambitions to kind of, if I was going to go for world domination, I probably should have started a little bit sooner. But I don't take it seriously. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised when I qualified, and obviously did your qualifier at Atherstone. And I did it because it looked like a good event to do. I like your comps anyway at your gym, so I thought, do you know what, I'll come and do it, because if I qualify, I qualify. If I don't, I don't. Nothing to lose. I'll just give it a crack. So I was really surprised to sort of firstly win the qualifier, and then obviously get the invite to go to Ireland. I know we spoke a couple of times about it, because I'd kind of gone, I'm not going to bother. I've always said I'll do as many comps as I can if they're within a couple of hours drive. Don't have to do an overnight. And suddenly I'm going, hang on a minute, I'm going to travel to Ireland to do this. So I initially said no. And just went, no, stop it, can't be bothered. There's a lot of can't be botheredness about me, really. I've chosen the wrong sport.
Sometimes you're better off being relaxed like that, though, aren't you? And then you don't put that pressure on yourself. And
I'm the one that's chilling in the corner on comp day when other people are getting nervous. I'm there just going, yeah, whatever. I might sit an event out if I can't be bothered.
But honestly, I think it saves you a lot of energy, and it's better for you to
Yeah.
be like that. And I've done better on them events where I go, I've got no chance of winning. I'm just going to do my best and end up doing better.
Yeah,
I
that's what
think.
we can
So,
do.
but
But yeah, so I think you kind of talked me into a little bit, to be honest. I mean, I talked myself into it, out of it, into it, and out of it. Obviously, spoke to my husband about it, spoke to some friends about it, spoke to you about it, and said, you know, I'll stuff it, I'll give it a crack. You know, nothing to lose. Get weekend in Ireland, as it was saw absolutely nothing of Ireland at all. So we drove out on Friday and drove back on Sunday. So probably spent under 48 hours in the country. But yeah, fantastic competition, really, really well run. It was super fast, like really speedy, rattling through the events. And they had some big classes. They got through, I think, 5, 6 women's classes on the Saturday, ran to time.
yeah,
Can't say enough about how good it was to compete at that level from something that's so well organised. I hit a few PBs. I managed to triple my 1 rep max deadlift, so lifted it for 3 reps. Albeit the last one was fueled by a lot of shouting, but
I was going to say,
yeah, it was just a cracking day.
yeah. I was in Menorca at the time, and I was managing to watch quite a bit of the live stream. And luckily, when there was like warming ups and that, I'd come back to it a bit later, and it would still be from that point. And I would say, like Vicky, my wife, she was looking at someone. I say, "Oh, this is so and so came to this one," and we watched your one, and I thought, and when you did the second rep, I thought, "Oh, that's good, a double," because I knew that was your PB. And then when you were going for that third one, like we were shouting at the screen.
They made me
That,
really work the lockout on that one as well, because I held it for a good couple of seconds to be really clear that it was locked out. But crikey, yeah, I was really happy with that. And it's amazing. I think it was the first time I've genuinely felt what adrenaline can do for you on comp day. I know people always say, you know, adrenaline's going to give you that bit extra, and it always does. I always get a few more reps than I do in training. I always go a little bit faster with farmers than I do in training. But I'd been struggling to get the 80 kilo Husafell stone off the ground. Like really, really struggling in training. I've been lifting it off a sort of 12-inch platform, been walking maybe 10 meters with it, and then just giving up and dropping it. I managed, picked it up in one motion, got it up to chest, walked 46 meters with it. And I don't know where, I to this day don't know where that came from, because I still can't pick it up from the ground in the gym.
it is amazing, isn't it? How much it can give you a day, and I think that's a really good story.
Crazy.
I think that whole thing of you getting into Ireland and that is a good story, because it should, or as I say, it shouldn't be, but it's not always sort of, oh, if I'm not going to win, I'm not going to go. You've gone there, you've had a great experience, you've hit them PBs, I mean, I suppose you could call it, it's almost an international kind of competition. Like you've travelled
Pretty much,
to compete. And how often really could that happen for some people? You know, so next year's final could be in England for all we know, and it's going to be an hour's trip. You don't know, but at least you've managed to have that kind of travel abroad for it, so it's good.
It was great. And do you know what? I'll do the qualifiers next year, and if I qualify, I'll do the final again. I'd always sort of thought, you know, I know top 5 qualified for Worlds, and there's the last chance qualifier, I think this weekend just gone up at Chaos. But for me, I just thought, do you know what, I'm not going to place top 5 in that, out of that size field. But actually, if I can hold my own and not zero too many events, I'll be really happy. And as it was, I'd had in my mind I was going to zero 2 events, and I thought I knew I'd zero overhead, and I thought I'd probably zero the Husafell carry. And as it was, I zeroed overhead, which was to be expected, and then also zeroed the Atlas stone, which is nuts because I've done that before in training. But the heat, it was a new stone. Tacky felt like baby oil, and it was a fairly new stone. And I think I had nothing left at that point. But I think the video is quite funny because PJ and I were shouting at each other to try and get the stone over, which we were going side by side, but neither of us managed it.
Yeah, I know, because I said that when I saw on the live stream that the stones all look really new. I thought, that's nice. When people,
they were all brand new.
Your stones are so filthy and all that. So yeah, but you'll get them over. I rarely get
I'd rather have an old gnarly stone that's got a bit of tacky left on
it. It looks filthy. You don't even know what it weighs because you can't see the number on it.
Yeah.
So obviously that's been probably the biggest competition you've kind of got to. at the minute, but I suppose everyone likes to know everyone's first stories on this. So what got you into strongwoman?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, massively long story, really. So I'll try and keep it short because I can talk quite a lot, really.
It's all right. We've got 4 hours, 17 minutes remaining.
So I'll be asleep long before then. Yeah, so I did my first comp in 2017. So you're pretty much dead on 6 years ago. I think it was like April, May time, 2017. Got into it completely by accident, really. I don't consider myself to be hugely sporty, but I'll sign up for anything if it's for charity or there's a free T-shirt. And this was, I think it was both. And I've been going to a local gym, doing some circuit classes, kettlebells and stuff like that. And I've always, as a teenager and sort of younger adult, I always had horses. So I've got a kind of natural strength from lugging hay bales, feed bags, pushing big animals around. So I started going to a local gym, just doing some circuits class, and said, "Oh, you're pretty strong, actually." And one of the girls there, who I'm friends with to this day, she was the first person that said to me something that really sticks with me, because I can remember her, I think, teaching me something like dumbbell bench press.
Yeah.
And she was surprised by my strength. She was like, "Oh my God, you could be an absolute beast." And she said it in such a positive way. I was like, "Oh, hang on, that's maybe a good thing."
Yeah. Nothing wrong with
And it was the first time somebody had kind of gone, "You don't need to train to get thin. You don't need to train to be a certain shape." It was like, "Oh my God, you could be an absolute like monster here. This could be brilliant."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Whoa, hang on, that was a real game changer for me to go, actually, maybe being strong is my thing, rather than trying to train." I've done the whole going running. I ran a half marathon. It sucked. It was probably the worst 3 hours of my entire life.
Amount of people, myself included, I know who've done one half marathon. Well, there's a reason they've not done it again.
Yeah, it was enough to convince me that running is really not my thing. Again, signed up for charity. I think it says a lot about the fact it took me 3 hours to do it. There's people running marathons in about half that now. So I've done the whole fitness thing, I guess. And then this was like, hang on, I could be strong instead. So I just messed about doing some weight stuff in the gym, did a little bit of Olympic lifting, some beginners classes, some powerlifting, did a few powerlifting competitions as well. And then there's a local strongwoman comp at PTS in Northampton. And it was, I think, like 25 quid to get a free T-shirt. And somebody went, "You should do that." Yeah, all right then. Came flat last, had an absolutely brilliant time, and haven't looked back.
Oh, I was going to say, the thing is, I think how many of us have started our journey by doing one of the novice comps at PTS?
Yeah, I think there's some really big names in the sport that started at PTS. People like Jenny Todd, Donna Moore, Annabelle Chapman. In fact, I competed against Annabelle. I think my last novice comp was one of her first ones. And she's now holding some serious world records.
I mean, how interesting is that? You know, I mean, she start top 5 in the world at open weight.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
And there's part of me thinks that if I took it seriously and actually trained consistently, who knows where I'd be.
Only I did more training.
You've got a busted knee, you've got a good excuse.
It's getting there. I've hurt my back now.
Wait till you're my age, mate. Wait till you're my age, mate. It's literally a game of what body part am I going to break today?
You think because I'm deadlifting like quite light compared to what you used to be able to do. I just didn't even think too much about the form. I just got in position and then
grip it and rip it.
Not too bad. It's not the worst thing I've ever felt, but just typical, innit? So
well.
So at the minute, so you train, I believe it's called Imperial Bodies Gym.
That's right, yeah.
It does kind of sound a bit like, well, I don't know what it sounds like, but when you look at the videos, it's actually like an amazing looking place to actually get strong, get fit.
Yeah, it's fantastic place. So I know we spoke about setting up a training session. You'd love to come down and bring a few of the guys down, some of the girls from your place. It's a massive warehouse unit, but it's set up for a sort of functional fitness, CrossFit style of training, as well as bodybuilding style of training. You've got a lot of cable machines. You've got like the sort of strongman corner area at the back of the gym, so we've got quite a good bit of strongman kit, but a lot of open floor space as well, and an astro track. So yeah, you can kind of train a bit of anything in there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a really big
space. Trying to
space.
get out of my place, but it's just quite a bit smaller. Is that basically you can train anything if you want to come down, and
yeah,
it looks like that.
Yeah, it's probably similar in terms of equipment style to what you've got. You've got a real mix of everything. Just it's the space volume, because the size of the unit it's in is just, when you walk in, it is a bit like, wow, this is pretty big. I think we've got 8, 10 rigs, like squat rigs.
Yeah.
And then say you've got a load of open space as well.
Did they just have their own competition down there?
Yeah, so they did a beginners at first timers I want to say probably a couple of months back, about 6-8 weeks ago. I couldn't. It was mid-June, so it was Father's Day, so I couldn't make it. I think that went all right, and they're doing another one in October called Winter Strong, which is beginners and novices.
Oh, okay. Oh, right.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
Women.
I'll
send you a link.
Are they up on the old strength register?
Do you know what? I don't know. I'll have to ask.
I was going to say, yeah, because I've been looking for something like that, not for myself, but for some of the guys here. So that'd be cool. Yeah. So if anyone, so tell you what, whereabouts is Imperial Body? So for all three people watching this, they can see.
Yeah, a bit free advertising for them. Yes, it's in Daventry. And you know what? And having lived in the area all my life, I should know the name of the road, but I can't. I think it might be High March. But it's off the A45 as you go into Daventry from the sort of Northampton Weedon direction. Before you actually get to Daventry itself, you turn right. There's a tyre place on the corner, and it's just up that road on that estate. But it's worth a visit. It's a cracking place.
Yeah, so there you go. If you're in Daventry and you want to train or do that novice comp in October, check it out, because I've not been, but on the Instagram page and that looks like a really good setup.
Yeah, got plenty of kit.
So I know, like, I'm going to be doing this with Glenn and a couple of other people, and they're all like PTs or coaches themselves. But you're not, are you? Or
No.
So what?
No training qualifications at all.
What do you do? If you don't mind me.
I'm a training development specialist in the automotive industry.
Oh, right.
So yeah, I've worked in the automotive industry all my life. So
is that?
I'm not going to say how many years. Actually, it's over 2 decades.
So when you say decades, that makes it sound longer, but
it does.
I take it that's quite like a male-dominated industry, is it?
Less so now, but yeah, it was for a long time. It can be male-dominated in some instances. So I think because the training development side of it is less so than the sales side of it, certainly technical side. But yeah, so I do a lot of sort of training consultation work with car retailers, making sure they know what training they need to be legally compliant with stuff, but also for the brand that they're working with, sort of trying to translate what that brand wants them to actually do in terms of training. So I travel around the country quite a lot, which I enjoy. It's great. I get to meet loads of people. So cool. Yeah, been doing it for a few years now.
So it's not like if you got any trouble, you could just throw them across the room with this strong woman strength you've got now. So
yeah, I don't tend to run into too much trouble, thankfully.
It's quite good, because I do imagine I'm going to say to people on this, what do you do? And they go, oh, well, I'm a PT, I'm a coach myself, because I think just a lot of them are, aren't they, who do this? Yeah. So no, that's good.
Yeah, a lot of people I think get really heavily involved in fitness or strength training and then take PT qualification as sort of a natural next step. It's something that I think if I was going to do it for myself, I might be inclined to do it, but honestly, it's not something I want to do as a job or want to do as a career. I'm actually really not a people person at all.
I know, I was a little bit surprised when I said, do you up for doing this and being episode 1? And you went, yeah, I'll do it. I did think I might have to persuade you, but no, it's
I'm a people person for quite a limited amount of time with a fairly limited number of people. I think, like, comp day, it's great. I get to see loads of people. I'll chat to anybody, and then I'm like, yeah, I don't want to talk to anybody for 48 hours again, please. I don't have the patience to teach anybody anything either.
I think sometimes
So
I like
I
small
think
groups myself.
Yeah, I think anybody that can go and be a coach or PT is fair play to them, because it's not something I could do.
Yeah. I'm not the most sort of sociable person, but if someone comes to the gym and it works hard, I've got a lot of time for them then. But I'll very much lose time for someone if they really shirk off. I don't know what it is. It just grates on me. Like,
Insane.
He's not seen me yet.
Insane.
Skip that. So no, it's good to actually have someone who talking to you, and you do strong woman and go to the gym very much as a hobby and a way to stay fit and healthy. That's just good.
Yeah, definitely. It's very much hobby for me. It takes up a fair chunk of time, and obviously coming up for competition, it's a big part of my life in terms of focus. But I'm quite lucky with work, so I work from home a couple of days a week, so training can fit quite well into that. So I'm training in the evening as soon as I've finished work and I'm not travelling.
So I know you mentioned you're going to do the qualifiers again. You're going to do the whole UKNS and keep doing that, especially if it's not too far, maybe the final or something.
Yeah, happens to be local.
So is that what's next for you with strong woman, or you got something else first?
Yeah, I've got that's probably. I mean, to be honest, that probably regional qualifiers next year will probably be my next big comp. I think you probably saw the Instagram post after UKNS finals that I've said, you know what, I'm taking 6 months out.
Yeah.
I've been competing in one sport or another since my teens. And certainly with strength training, peaking for comp repeatedly is just it's taken its toll on my body, I'm sure. And again, it's one of those, if I had a coach, they could probably periodise a program a little bit better to not take that sort of toll. But I do my own programming as well. So I have found just doing 4 or 5 comps a year and peaking each time for comp is starting to just the fatigue setting in. And I think I pretty much was broken when I went into finals. Had a wrist injury, a hip injury, and a back injury. Going into the day, I was absolutely dosed up on painkillers. I just thought, you know what, I can't do this again in 3 months' time.
Yeah.
So I was relieved I didn't place higher.
Yeah, look, you can take the chance to have like maybe a nice long off season, work on some things, and maybe a bit fresher. Who knows how next year's going to go?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still training 3-4 times a week. Still training pretty hard, but I've changed the training style. I'm training nowhere near max. Everything's about 50-60% at the moment, high volume. Doing a more CrossFit style of training as well, which is uncomfortable for me because it's not what I'm used to. It's pushed me well outside my comfort zone, but I'm actually quite enjoying it now.
That's good. Yeah, I think all that stuff like came over anyway. You know, helps a lot with technique, conditioning, fitness, and that. So
yeah, carryover's huge from CrossFit.
Yeah,
really huge. I think.
A lot of people hear that. I mean, it's not a CrossFit gym, but they do that kind of training, they do conditioning, then suddenly they think, oh, actually, I quite like doing strongman, and and they end up giving that a go, and they've built the technique up, floor to the stuff and all that. So good.
Yeah, and when I look at so Kaylee, who came, I think I can't remember if she was podium place, but she was certainly top 5 in the under 64s. And I know obviously she's your comp. Kaylee trains predominantly CrossFit, and her strength is immense.
That's it, yeah.
But I would say I'd hazard a guess, 80 to 90% of her training, I bet, is CrossFit style training. So she's epically good at strongwoman as well, but her training is not solely focused on that. She does a lot of CrossFit, and the carryover there from having that real good base of strength is really good.
Yeah, but when she come here and did the under 64 last October and won it, and actually done a CrossFit event the day before.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she competed the day before and just walked into another competition. It's just, I need like three days sitting still after a competition.
I was going to say, I'd have been battered from that.
Yeah, I would have been on the sofa for 48 hours afterwards.
So one thing with doing these episodes, was going to try and keep them to like half an hour. I don't want to become not even if I could, become the next like Joe Rogan podcast where there's like 3 hour interviews or anything. So, I mentioned to you about maybe doing like the same 3 or 4 questions for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, I've come up with 5.
Okay.
You could be as quick fire as you want, or we've got time if you want to go into a bit more depth.
Go quick fire. Let's go quick fire.
They might need some work. They might change over a few interviews, but we'll see. I can't even remember what I've got written up here. Well, not probably an easy one. Of all time, who's your favourite strong man or strong woman?
God, right. Strong for different reasons. Strong woman, I would say, and current one is Rhiannon Lovelace, because she has done so much for the women's side of the sport.
Yeah.
So much. Strong man. Do you know what? I don't know. I don't tend to follow strongman outside of the sort of world's level.
Yeah.
Tell you who I also think looks to be quite a character is Alexei Novikov.
Yeah.
He's somebody that I think I've got a lot of admiration for. I think he's proof that you don't need to be massive to be like world class. So yeah, I'd say those 2.
That's cool. That's interesting. Yeah, because but yeah, I suppose I can see why you obviously say Rhiannon, especially if you're following more of the women in the sport. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm just she's relatively new to the scene. I think she started competing after I did, and I've only been doing it say 6 years, and she's been doing it maybe 5-6 years herself. But just the publicity she's managed to get for the women's side, the prize money, the doors that have opened for people to get pro cards, to compete at that level, and she's opened that opportunity up for so many people. I just think that's really good.
It's not just for like the big stuff as well. We were just there for like a beginners and novice comp, and just like her energy all day on the mic.
Yeah.
And
she's so encouraging of everybody.
Pulling out the names of that, which she doesn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Or even have to be there. So yeah, it's a great.
Yeah, she's a real game changer, I think, in the sport. To be honest,
it's a great one because I'm kind of waiting for a lot of guys to say Marit Bujanovsky and Zadrina Savickas.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be a bit connected then. You might say the same person, but if you could have a 2-hour training session as a one-off with anyone from any kind of sport, I guess, it doesn't have to be strongman, who would it be?
Do you know what? It's actually not going to be the same person. I would say probably Annie Thorisdottir.
Oh, yes. Yes, so she's 2 times fittest on earth, isn't she?
Yeah.
Two times, yeah.
Yeah, I just think she's somebody that you could learn a lot from. I think she'd probably be quite a laugh. I don't think you can fake the kind of energy she has on camera. She just seems like she'd just be a real good giggle.
Yeah. I do get a little bit mixed up. There's three of the girls, isn't there? So is she the one that's
Sarah, Katrin, and Annie?
Yeah, you got Katrin, who's 2 times as well, isn't she?
Yes. Sarah, I don't think has won it, but has podiumed.
Right. Yeah.
And then you've got a couple more. Like there's a whole bunch of daughters now coming up through the ranks because you've got Turi, who I think has competed a couple of games now. And there's another one, and I can never remember her name, but I think she's qualified for the games this year.
Yeah.
I think they build them pretty strong over there.
I was going to say it's that Icelandic blood, Icelandic genes.
Yeah, they build them pretty strong.
That's really cool. I should keep a tally of what people say because it's definitely not what I was expecting. So
no.
I was expecting Rhiannon when you said that, but yeah, you'd learn a lot from any of those.
Yeah, definitely.
His daughters or the different Icelandic girls. Okay, right. So you wake up tomorrow and all strength sports have been banned. What sport do you get into? We're going to say CrossFit banned.
I'd still do strongwoman.
Pardon?
I'd still do strongwoman.
Oh, you're a bit like, I don't care if it's banned.
ban it as much as you like. I'm still training. What I do in the comfort of my own home is my business. Nobody's going to ban me from it, so I'll just train at home.
If anyone's going to probably be like that, it would be you. Well, don't arrest me. I think that's
Yeah,
probably good answer. Probably just leave that one there, actually. Okay, then. So this next one, and this is whether you've visited for a competition or training or anything like that. What do you think is the best gym you've ever been to?
Do you know what? I haven't travelled to that many gyms. So obviously been to a few for competition. I don't tend to train when I'm out on the road for work because I end up it's commercial gyms only, and I'm not going in those. I'd actually say the best gym that I've been to is the one that I'm at now, which is Imperial Bodies, just because the range of kit they've got. But I think for me, it's the people. I can go in there and go and train in my little corner up at the top with all the concrete stuff and the big metal kit, and just like shout away to my heart's content, and people will just go, "Oh, that's Claire, she's fine, just leave in the corner to shout at things." Or I can go into the main area where the rigs are and train in there and shout away to people and be friendly. So it's like best of both worlds for me, which is great.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really cool thing that you've actually said your home gym is the best place to go to. And
yeah, I haven't found one. I haven't found one better yet.
you're right. Sometimes it's great to have all the top kit and different stuff, but you got to have good people around, haven't you?
Yeah, I think for me it's the people. It's just knowing I'm not going to get hassled in there. Nobody's going to give me grief for doing anything. I'm not going to have some random come up and form check me, or go, "Oh, you don't want to do that. You might get too big."
You go, it's strongman. The technique don't matter. You've just got to get it from A to B.
It's like, from A to B. It doesn't matter if you break back trying, right?
And then the last one, really. Again, you can keep this simple, or you can go on a rant, I suppose, if you want. If you could make one change to the sport of strongman, what would it be?
Oh God, that's a whole nother podcast, mate. There's so much stuff I'd change. I think it's something that I always feel a bit torn about, and I think it probably goes back to the whole like my answer to if it was banned, what would you do? And I said, well, I'll just carry on. One thing that I love about strongman is there aren't any rules, really. There's no federation, there's no governing body. You just rock up, lift some stuff, get a trophy, go home. Whatever. It's like anybody can be a promoter, anybody can run a comp, anybody can compete. There's no kind of governing law about it. But that's equally frustrating because there's no guidance for competition organisers or standardisation of events. I mean, I'm looking to think maybe I'll do a bit of a fun comp somewhere locally in perhaps September, October, just to give myself a bit of focus. And I was looking at novice. I can't do novice. I've been doing it for far too long. But I saw a comp, and their novice level is actually way heavier than anything I could lift.
Oh right, yeah. It's more like standardisation.
Yeah, it's got 150 deadlift for reps. It's got, I think, 45 kilo dumbbell presses.
So that's not like a men's comp.
No, this is novice women's.
Wow.
And then but I've seen organisers run comps like that and then go, well, I'm not running another women's one because nobody entered. And I'm thinking, well, there's a correlation here. If you're going to pitch it at what's effectively a national level weight for a novice comp, nobody's going to enter.
Yeah.
So I think, so part of me loves the fact there's no governing body, there's no rules, it's anything goes. I would like to see some sort of standardisation of what novice means, what inters means, what weight is right for each class. And I know there's some damn strong novices out there. I mean, when I look at some of your first timers comps that I've been to and refed or come and sort of spectated at, some of the women are pulling huge deadlifts, like really huge.
Yeah.
But they're possibly people that have come from another strength sport background, or like Anna, she's going to go really far in this sport. Yeah, she's come from rugby. She's got that fitness. She's got the strength. She's already kind of got that mentality of like giving it all you've got. I think it puts newcomers off who might want to just give it a try when you see a comp that you're looking at and thinking, hang on a minute, there's people that have been doing this sport 4 or 5 years can't hit those weights.
Yeah. I think that's going to be maybe like a fairly common answer in a way, where I think people want to see standardisation, even if it is just this is what novice should be, this is what inter should be, this is this weight class, this weight class, and that's even
if there was a bit of a range to if you're going to run a novice comp, you should be looking at up to this sort of weight on a deadlift, or up to this sort of weight on a farmers. Again, I've seen, I saw a comp today, it's 80 kilos a hand farmers for novice women. That's 5 kilos heavier than UK finals weight.
I was going to say, that was about the weight you did at UK.
No, we had 75 a hand, so they're doing for a beginner heavier than national finals level. And I think, you know what, if people want to pitch it that way, that's up to them. And there's probably novices out there that can do it, but there'll be more novices out there that will go, I can't do that, I'm not entering, and it's put me off the sport. And I think that's what we need, is more people that will come into the sport, have early success and progress through. Because actually what I see is people come into the sport, get something that's way too heavy for them, get put off and back away again and go and do something else. And I think getting people in and then keeping them in, because they can progress and they can have, say, a bit of early success at hitting a PB or getting 5 reps when they thought they might only get 3. But if they're going in going, well, I'm going to 0 3 out of the 5 events, they're probably not going to enter in the first place.
They're not going to enter, are they?
I would, because I'm stupid, but most people wouldn't.
So what? It's actually got seconds left on the actual.
So as you can see, I just got cut off at the end with Claire. My fault, really. I should have just sort of monitored the time. So thanks a lot, Claire, for getting involved with this sort of little podcast. We're going to get started and see where it goes. And it's been great chatting to you. And hopefully everyone's just got to know a little bit more about yourself. And good luck for the future, really. And yes, we'll definitely sort out a training session. Thanks, Claire.